Hi there, it's Jeff
and Cassandra
from RV Parenting. And as you know, if you've seen any of our other videos, we have 3 daughters, 2 of which are basically teenagers. One of them's 12, but she's almost 13. And then the other one is a toddler. And so this video is going to be all about what it's like traveling in your RV with teens, and more importantly, how to schedule the trip, plan your destinations, and make everything fun as much as possible for some moody teens. So let's get into it.
Moody teens, wow, it's like the understatement of a lifetime as parents. But you do survive. We hear that the first couple of years are the roughest. One thing we notice is that when we're on the road, it's important to balance urban and nature. For an example, we planned Oklahoma City and Dallas on our route because they have great museums and science centers. These are places where the kids can explore different cultures, see different, styles of clothing, just different foods. You got to do both. You really have to get them out there into the museums and culture them that way. Another thing we did is we made a stop in Mississippi at the Yogi Bear Jellystone Park, which is a lot of fun. But we were there during the off season. But what we loved about it is they had paddle boats, they had a giant swimming pool, golf carts there. They even had signs warning about alligators.
Basically a small water park.
Yeah,
too.
A small water park. Yeah, so it would give them the ability to be on their own, have a little bit of fun without mom and dad, but they're still outdoors.
And it's kind of nature, but it's kind of, not roughing it out in the middle of nowhere either. I think if it was just up to us, we would be hitting a lot of national parks and state parks and just kind of getting away from it all. But it's important with teenagers to really strike that balance, I think.
Yeah, we definitely found, when they were 8 and 9 years old, we could take them to places, like in West Texas, we went to Big Bend, and they absolutely had the time of their lives. We saw pictographs. They were several thousand years old. They enjoyed it. If we try to take them now, oh my gosh.
A lot of eye rolling and attitude.
So we have to, and we do take them and we do suffer through the eye rolls, but we've also learned as parents, you kind of have to find things that motivate them a little bit more by things they can do on their own, but that they're safe.
So piggybacking on the balancing of urban versus rural destinations, one of the places that we went to kind of randomly on our last trip, Astrid's our 13-year-old, she and I just got to talking. She was sitting up front and we were driving and we were like, what do you think about New Orleans? Because we were kind of headed in that direction. And we were like, yeah, let's do it. We hadn't really planned it out. We hadn't thought about it. I hadn't been in New Orleans since pre-Katrina. That tells you how long ago that was. But I did know that driving a 34-foot RV in New Orleans could be a little harrowing maybe. Parking could be a challenge. But I knew that walking around the French Quarter during daytime hours, I don't think I'd walk around there at nighttime with a bunch of kids, but during the daytime, I thought that sounded like fun, and we just kind of went for it. And it did take us a little bit of time to figure out the best place to park it.
Oh,
we did just park it on the street.
And it fit, and we did not get sideswiped.
No, but we did decide to park about 2 miles, maybe a mile and a half from the French Quarter. We didn't want to try and get into the French Quarter in a giant RV.
But it was a quick walk, and they still have Ubers if you want to do an Uber there. That's a quick, just $5-6 to get there. But we found that it was really easy. We did notice that the parking spaces inside the city, they don't allow RVs to park there. So it was either...
You mean the parking lots?
The parking lots, that's right. Sorry, the parking lots don't offer RV parking. So you literally...
But most of them say no RVs on their signage.
So you have to park on the street. But it was totally worth it. We got there. I'd never been before, so it was an experience for me as well. We had great New Orleans food, the music, the bands were playing.
Yeah, there was, of
vendors
course,
on the street.
Yeah, typical New Orleans jazz bands on the street. Everything you would picture about New Orleans, we experienced on that trip. And it was spur of the moment. Had a great time.
We were only there for 3 hours.
And our big girls loved it. And like I said, Astrid, our 13-year-old, helped me make the decision to go there. So she was involved in that whole process.
And we still talk about it, how much fun we had in New Orleans and how we want to go back. So.
Yeah, and the next time, there are campgrounds in and around New Orleans for RVs. So it wouldn't be that hard to actually just go and stay there in the heart of the city and then enjoy it for a few days.
Yeah, for sure.
The next thing that we did to kind of combat moody teens while traveling in an RV is allow them extra screen time while we're driving. If you know anything about teenagers, and I'm assuming you do since you're watching this video, you know that they would be glued to their screens 24/7 if we let them. And of course, we don't let them. We have limits, and we have screen-free Sundays, and we have designated times where they do and they don't get their phone, just to sort of, give them some balance and some perspective. Because otherwise, like I said, they would be glued to their phones 24/7. But while we're driving, I understand that being in an RV, driving down the highway for 5, 6, 7 hours can be a little boring. So whether it's the TV or their phones, we do let them have more screen time than normal while we're driving, just to sort of keep the sanity of everyone, including us.
Yeah, for sure. We do make it a point too, is when we're having meals, that nobody's on their phone. We're sitting down, even if it's just on a couch looking at each other, and we're not at the table, just put the phones away for a little bit. And not even that bit of connections, like, oh yeah, that's right, we're people, we're not just teenagers. Which kind of ties into a little bit of our next topic, is RVing and camping with friends. We just recently went on a trip for the first time with our oldest child's friends, Astrid. She's 13. Her friend is 13. The parents are similar ages as us. They live in the same area. They just purchased an RV, and yeah, we went, and they enjoyed themselves.
I mean, it was great. We parked our RVs side by side. We had dinner together and campfire cookouts, and it was a blast doing it that way and involving another family, and more importantly, one of our daughter's friends. We haven't done enough of that yet. We've only done it once so far, but we're definitely going to do more of that.
And the good news is people are buying RVs right now, left and right. Like, this is the new trend. So, that's something to look forward to. Robin, our friend, was telling us when she was younger that her parents did that. They did these caravan excursions quarterly, and, it was a lot of fun. And that's what she's trying to cultivate again. So I think we're going to see an uptick in that. And if not, you can always have friends where there's camping in tent and camping in your RV, so that if you don't have an RV, at least you guys have that indoor kitchen and living space, and everyone gets to hang out still and have a blast.
And our RV is big enough to where we could actually bring their friends with us for a couple of days on a trip somewhere too. Both of these couches fold out into, oversized twin-size beds essentially. So we do have room to bring friends with us as well. And that's something that we'll probably explore down the road.
Yeah, we're thinking a beach trip for that one.
The next tip I have for you, though, about traveling with teenagers in your RV is to piggybacking on the screen time and trying to balance between screen time, family time, outdoor time, all of that. It's a constant dance. But after dinner, you're settled into the campsite. Maybe you got a fire going at the fire pit if you have one outside. But at some point, it's nice for them to be able to spend a little bit of time connecting with their best friend. Usually, if they've got iPhones, then that can be via FaceTime, or it can just be a regular phone call. But Jolie in particular, our middle daughter, she's 12, almost 13. She did that almost every night, and it really kind of grounded her, made her feel connected to her friends. This particular trip, we were gone for a month, so she didn't see her friends physically for a month. So it was a great way for her to still feel connected to her friends and not feel like she was just missing out on everything, which is naturally how they're kind of going to feel on long RV trips.
And we get to see them too. It's really fun when they bring they're talking to their friends on the phone and showing them the RV and the campsite, and just kind of, it's as if their friend, like, I love that about technology. As many downsides there are to it, it's great to feel that connection when you're thousands of miles away, and seeing your kid happy and not disgruntled and just like yelling for food and solitude. I don't know. It's nice to see them having fun and talking to their friends as if they were in, the room with us.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're on the road with your teens, you have to supplement their friend time by kind of being their friend. We have family game nights, which we host. Even when we're not on the road, we try to do that in the RV as well. There was one night, it all started, we were playing Go Fish with Layla, and we asked them, do you want to play cards? And they're like, no. And we start playing, and the next thing you know, they just creep over one by one, and the whole family's playing Go Fish, and it evolved into some kind of card chaos. But it was a lot of fun, and I think that's part of it too, just remembering if you bust the game out, they will come to you. Some other favorites we love are dice, playing playing Farkle. I don't know if you're familiar with that one. It doesn't require a lot of space, so it's easy to take everywhere you go and quick to learn. Charades we just got into after you got us into charades. Apparently there are many ways you can play, but it's an easy, good time to have.
And cribbage, that's an easy thing to pack in your RV, and it's a lot of fun to play, and it doesn't take up a lot of room. You know, the table in the RV is kind of small, so it's not really ideal for large board games like Monopoly or Life or something like that. Although if your campsite has a picnic table outside, that would probably be a better spot. But you also have to think about where you're going to put all of these games in your RV when you're traveling too, because a lot of moving pieces, a lot of little things that could get lost.
Yeah, I can't tell you how many things are actually underneath our benches in our dining area from sliding around. So now I'm like, no, if it has a small piece, if it's more than 5 pieces, it cannot come into the RV. So just kind of keep that in mind when you're thinking of games that you want to play. Keep it small and keep it simple.
But do think of games that the entire family, including Moody Teens, can play with you. It's just another way to kind of connect with them on some level. At this age, they're pulling away, and that's natural. I remember doing that too. But as parents, we have to kind of sometimes put aside our hurt feelings and just find ways to connect with them on their level, as opposed to expecting them to connect with us on our level.
Yeah, they pick the music, they pick the games, and it goes a lot smoother if you just ride the wave.
Anyway, I hope you like this video. If you do, please give us a thumbs up. It sends a great signal to YouTube, and then they're going to show it to more RV parents just like you. And then, of course, smash that subscribe button and the bell notification button too. That way you stay connected and you find out about the next video that we put out. But with that, we'll see you in the next video.